Alright guys, welcome back to the channel and thank you for tuning in. So I've got something big today. One of the big names, but the biggest name you're going to get taken to is going to be BikeBerry.com. And they said, hey, we want you to try out our F2 thruster pipe and our HP carbs. So I already have it on Purple Nightmare at the moment. Now, the motor that it's on is not my 110. This is a CDH 110. This is for a fella in Canada that I'm building it for. I was just putting it on a bike really to test it. There was an issue with crosstalk and Freeport. So I wanted to make sure it was good, so I put it on Purple Nightmare. It's kind of become the new test mule in a way, but since it was on the bike, I was like, let's throw the pipe on and see how it goes. Well, you'll see in the video, it did really well, okay? From what this motor was doing before, which don't get me wrong, it was doing great and it ran great, sounded great. It is 100% smoother through the RPM range with this carburetor, and it definitely has more top end and revs out farther. It is 100% nice on this motor. It's not a stock motor, okay? It is not highly modified, but it is 100% modified, meaning I changed the port durations and whatnot. That is going to be in a full build series that you'll be able to see soon. But for now, I'm just wanting to talk about this and show you this. The F2 thruster, on this motor, it was amazing. We're going to try it on this other motor, but I want to give you a before. And after. All right, let's take off. Slip the clutch. Where is it? Now you have a before and after on this. You see the difference. It's hard to translate into a video on how much better it is, but the cost of the carb is not much, okay? The pipe is not much. The pipe is more than the carb. Let's say you wanted to have just a cheap, easy upgrade. I would say if you want something that's just a tad bit smoother. Now, full disclosure, I have had 3 of these carburetors previously. They were all given to me except for the one Pucky I bought. Now, the Pucky is a brand name. The other 2, I believe, came from BikeBerry. I'm not 100% sure, but they're the same exact mold. One has Pucky written on the side, and the other ones all look exactly like this, but they all come from the same mold. I'm assuming from the same manufacturer in China or India, wherever they come from. The other 3 are still with us, but not usable. They all broke the exact same way. But that's because I had them on Tweaker. Now, Tweaker has a highly modified YD100 on it right now. And for all you math nerds out there that want to do a little math, I'm hitting 44.8 miles an hour on a 26-inch tall tire and a 44-tooth sprocket on flat ground. Figure the RPMs out. When I say highly modified, I don't mean I went to RDM and bought a crank or anywhere else. It means I went to Amazon or eBay and just bought the cheapest thing I could find and put it in there, but ported it to the hilt. And it revs really nice. It sounds great and what have you. And I'm not gonna lie, right now I have a stock NT or speed carb imitation NT on there, and it runs great. It does, it really does. It runs great and it still revs up high. I do feel like in the top RPMs right now I am missing a little bit. It's not revving out as far and it's not revving as cleanly once it gets up there. And once I get up there, it also has a miss, like a slight hesitation. 100% noticeable. The exhaust was not changed on that. The only difference in the testing was the carburetor. So it is definitely operating better than the NT, speed, whatever you want to call it. Now you guys know I don't want to say a diehard, but I am pretty faithful when it comes to using the NT or speed carb. I run it on every one of my bikes. It's reliable, it's easy, it's quick, and it comes for free with the kit. But having a flat slide in your carburetor and the automatic choke makes starting so much easier and makes the revs better with the flat slide. It's smoother on acceleration as well. It's noticeable. Now I'm going to put this exact carburetor right here. I'm going to put this on this black bike back here. You may have seen this black bike in the background for about a year now, and I've never used it. I got it from someone with poor life decisions, we'll say. But taking it apart to look at it, I wanted to get it running for this video. I wanted to see what a stock motor would do with these upgrades. Completely stock out of the box. Okay, so guys, this is Black Beauty. It was just like you see it basically, except it had a pipe that went fully here. I cut it out to fit the motor properly so I could get the carb sitting up and the spark plug wire on and all that. But basically the chain wasn't hooked up, the wheel is still super wobbly, gas tank wasn't hooked up, blah blah blah, a lot of stuff, you know, no seat, the throttle was messed up over there, there was no grip on this side, the cables were all messed. They got the motor kit, they put it onto the bike. It didn't fit because of this bar, and they pretty much just gave up. And then some guy came up to me one day knowing that I do motorized bikes. He's like, hey, do you want to buy it for like $100? I said, I'll give you 30. And he took it. So I fixed it all up, put it all together again, made it so it is rideable. I was going to do this because most bikes out there, because most people don't take the motor out of the box and port the motor. That's why I was going to use this motor to demonstrate how it was going to feel or be, or you know, what this motor is going to be like. So I took it and I got it all fixed up so that I could take and fire the motor up. And the motor was never fired on before. When I popped the top and I saw what was in there, it was perfect, never been ran. So I put the chain on and I got it to the point you see it is now. It's ready to be test ride so you can see how it's running. It does not run well. Granted, it's not broken in yet, but I don't think that's going to help this. I think there's something wrong inside with the timing. There's something more wrong than just what you can find here. So that being said, I decided to leave it as is, because this is basically like one of you guys got a motor, excited about it, and it's running poorly. Hey, I know it's going to help, a carburetor and a pipe, because that's what everybody says you should do. And on this particular instance, it wouldn't really help you. It does help it run a little better, but you be the judge of that. So let's go take it for a ride. Guys, so you saw it did not run well. So we're going to take the carb off, take the exhaust off, and we're going to put the new carb on, the new exhaust on, and we're going to see if it helps it at all. I think it's going to help it run better. I do not think it is going to run well. Maybe get a little bit more speed. As you can see, I had trouble going over, like, not even, I don't know, speedometer, 15 miles an hour maybe. Well, we weren't going fast. So it is what it is. Let's go see how it is with the pipe in the carburetor. All right, guys, so we're back. It is an hour and a half since the last scene you just saw. And I'm not gonna lie, it should not have taken me an hour and a half. So we had a few problems along the way, but we have it all on. There was no grip on this side at all, so now we have a grip on this side. We have a new grip on that side with the new throttle casing and everything. We got a new throttle cable, and we got a new HP carb on here, and we got the F2 thruster. So let me get this rigged up with some cameras and stuff, and we're gonna take it out for a ride, and we're gonna see exactly how it does. Now, what can I tell you about this? So you can hear how it is running. It is still running like crap. It is definitely running like better crap. No matter what, straight out of the box, like anyone at home would get, you know, it's a crapshoot when it comes to these things. The quality control on the motors is very poor, and this motor is a perfect example. So all the other ones, it has been running great. So if I was to open this up, I would bet that the transfers are probably clogged, and the exhaust is probably not very tall at all, and the piston's probably not coming out of the exhaust opening much, and the intake is probably a good port of the skirt. To open the motor up would be great, clean it up, and you could run this jet that's in here, and it would run perfectly fine like it did on all the other motors I tested so far. That being said, I used this exact carburetor, that exact jet, on everything else, and it worked perfectly fine. It ran amazing and impressively too, considering it was just an upgrade. Now, with all that being said on that, all I did on this was put the F2 thruster on and the carburetor, and it 100% is running better than before. I don't have a speedometer on here, nor did I have one on my phone going, but from, you know, being older and knowing how fast you're pretty much going roughly, I probably hit 25, maybe 28 miles an hour. Yes, that's not fast, but on this bike previous, I was lucky to get going over 15, if that. It would not move, and now it's moving. I mean, it's not moving great, and you can hear it's really coughing a lot, but it is going, and that's all that matters. So just taking this crappy motor out of the box, putting it on a bicycle, and then knowing it's running crappy, you go and buy the carburetor, really not the exhaust necessarily. Exhaust is just for fun and loud, and it does help on higher speeds and stuff, even low RPMs, once you get the motor running right. So let's just take the carburetor, for instance. You buy just this carburetor and put it on the bike, it's going to start running better right out of the gate. 100%. I just proved it right here. Guys, so you could see in that one, it was not running well. It did run better. No doubt, no denying it. Ran better. Nothing you can say about it, except that it did make it run better. I don't think it was the pipe. The pipe made it sound cooler. The carburetor definitely helped it run better. So there's no denying that. I mean, you could say what you want about these things, and a lot of people do say a lot of things about these. And there's been only one weak link that I've found while testing these things, or actually before testing in my own personal use of these things. And I'll tell you what that is more towards the end of the video. So right now we're going to do this. So you saw behind Black Beauty. I don't have a name for it. What do you think we should name it? It's going to be not our testing bike, but it's going to be a bike that we do stuff with. We'll figure more out about that later. You saw it did make it run better. You saw Norm's motor. It ran much better. So we're going to try it on this. Bling. So the difference here is this motor does run well. So we got bling in the shop. The workspace? Under my tent. Yeah, that's about it. So we fixed the throttle. We put new grips on because why not? They gotta match. We fixed the clutch. It is now clutching properly because before it was not clutching properly. Everything should work well. This motor is mildly ported. Nothing crazy. It's got really good bottom end and it just runs for a while. Bear rides it every day just about. Got a lot of miles on this bike. I built this as one of my daily riders. Okay, that's what I knew he was gonna do with it, so that's how I built it. It's running great. Let's take this out for a spin and you can see exactly how this one runs. As it sits, it's a mildly ported motor, nothing extravagant. And then let's put the exhaust and the carburetor on and see what goes from there. So let's go on this ride real quick. See it, the motor runs well, it does good, it pulls nice, it's nothing crazy, it's quiet, smooth. Now let's change all of that by putting an exhaust and a carburetor on. Well, the carburetor will help it run smoother, but the pipe will 100% change that whole runs quiet thing. I guarantee it's gonna be pretty loud, and we'll see how much better it feels by the old butt dyno on the takeoff and pulling. Let's put this on real quick, give me a second. Sometimes when you don't port these things to the tilt, and like this one, I basically just made the overall geometry of the ports flow better. Like, I didn't change too much on timing, but I did 100% make it flow better. And in doing that, it doesn't need as much fuel and air to get going. And I honestly think this would benefit slightly from a smaller jet. I mean, I still felt like I had the normal top speed. I still felt like it was normal. It was obviously louder, a little more fun. Was there a huge performance increase? Off the line, 100%, it definitely pulled harder off the line, and I think with a slightly smaller jet, it would pull much harder than what it just did. But it is definitely pulling harder than the stock carb with the stock exhaust. Pulling away at the light or off the line, so to speak, has more to do with the exhaust in this particular instance than it does with the carb. And considering it's pulling harder with a carburetor that's not really tuned optimally, speaks volumes for what you're going to get if you have a motor that's running well and slightly ported like this. Now obviously there's tons of variations and different ways to go about it when you port a motor, but this one here is just your basic mild port job. Probably something a lot of you guys out there could do yourself if you were inclined to. It's not overly aggressive, it's just good. Flows well. Oh, it's a one-way street, fella. Okay, never mind. It just flows well, and I think you could benefit from a port job in any motor, but I think you will benefit 100% with this pipe. So let's go back and let's do final thoughts on everything. So as you know, BikeBerry gave me the pipe and the carburetor to do some testing and to make a video to show you guys, and they're offering a discount code if you were to buy them. The discount code should be somewhere, the discount code will probably be somewhere down here, maybe up here, I don't know, this way. No matter what, it will be in the description, so you can 100% get it there. Just go right below the video and you can see that it's right above the comments. So what are my thoughts? I think if you're just putting it on a bike to have fun, 100%, it's loud, gives a little bit of performance, and it's just fun. It goes for both of the parts. Now, as far as the carburetor, I would recommend that really on any bike. I think it's a really nice little carburetor. So I think the carb's good all the way around for whatever build you might have. The pipe, it's nothing crazy special, but for the regular person, the average person that just wants to get a little performance and a little better sound out of their bike, 100% you're gonna get a little better performance, you're gonna get way better sound,
and it makes it look way cooler, to be honest, just like you saw in my little skit. I hope you guys enjoyed that little skit, because that was meant to be funny and just a goof on me, but it took a lot of work to do that, to be honest with you, and it came out okay-ish. It's a work in progress. I'll get better, hopefully. Probably won't. That's about the best it's gonna get. If you're the average person out there just looking to get something fun, upgrades, if you have a bike that is already running well with the stock parts, 100% you're gonna notice a difference, and you're gonna have a lot of fun with the carb, with the pipe, with both of them, whatever you decide to do. If your bike is like this one, not running well, out of the box, you didn't do anything to it, it might help it run better. As you saw, it did help it run better. It did not run right. With Norm's motor, the one I'm sending out to Canada, you saw how it ran stock, and it ran really great stock. And then you saw how it ran with the pipe and the carb. It revved higher, revved smoother, and that's a pretty heavily ported motor. So you saw on the higher up you go in increments of performance and work you've already done to the actual motor, you're gonna get even more out of these parts. Tweaker wasn't in the video, but this is the one I did most of the testing with just on my day-to-day, because you know it's one of my dailies. But that's also where I found the weak link. And the weak link was the back bracket, and I'll show you that on a close-up upstairs. But on Tweaker, it has a YD100 that I have heavily ported. Okay, now that I really only tested the carburetor, because the pipe's a pipe. The pipe is going to make it sound louder, give you a little more bottom end. Those are a dime a dozen. You know what's going to happen with that. Those are always a great upgrade. They're always a fun upgrade because they're just fun. As far as the actual carburetor though, which is what I was most interested in, because if you go on any of the forums, any of the groups, this, that, and the other, everybody's, don't get the HP carb, don't get that BikeBerry carb, don't get the Pucky, that stupid carb, they're just junk, blah, 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 blah. And I was one of the people saying it because I heard this person say it, I heard that person say it, and that person. And 99% of those people did not test it for themselves, like myself. I didn't. So before BikeBerry even came to me and said, hey, you want to test these parts, I was already testing one. It just happened to work out that they offered it to me, because I was already testing one on Tweaker, because I was like, you know what, I talk so much smack, but I've never actually tested, let me try it, and I was blown away. So I'm a big speed or NT carb, stock carburetor. It's a super simple carburetor, and it just works all the time. You know, there's never really any issues with it. So I always run them. On every one of my dailies, I run one of them. On all the bikes that I build, I run one of them, because they're just simple, easy. Now if a person comes to me and says, hey, I want something a little better, I'm gonna recommend this, no BS, unless they're wanting like a reed valve or something like that, where we're doing a plate or something, then I might recommend a different, bigger carb. But for any of the basic piston port motors that I'm gonna be building, if they want an upgrade, 100% gonna recommend that. The automatic choke is crazy awesome, because when you're riding and starting off, that's when it's most rigid, because the bike is still cold, it's got the most compression it's gonna make, and it's way more jerky. And when you have to take a hand off the throttle to go down and move the choke, it's very frustrating, and it can be dangerous if you're riding down a busy road like I do, and the bike just jerks and you twist the wheel and you go into traffic or into a car, parked car. That automatic choke is huge, guys. I cannot recommend how nice it is having that. After 3 years of riding with no automatic choke, having that now was, it's really, really nice, okay? That's a great little thing, is that choke. So I do recommend, if you're just the average person out there, or even a intermediate, and you want to do a little upgrade and have fun, the parts are 90% just bolt on, simple, easy, because they're designed to go right in place of the stock parts. So I do recommend getting it if you want one. Also, I recommend trying stuff for yourself, or go into someone you actually trust, whether it be on Facebook, Discord, YouTube, whoever, or wherever. Go to someone that you trust, that you think they're going to give you an honest answer on what's going to happen and what these parts are going to do. I hope that when you come to me, you can trust me, and I'm going to give you the real story on what's going to happen with these parts if you were to buy them. So you saw new out of the box, not running good, made it run better, didn't run right. Yeah, it's better, but it's still not right, so there's still a different problem. And honestly, if it was me, I wouldn't even have went that route. I just did it for the video to show you guys what to expect. I would have went internally and fixed the problem at the beginning, and then adding these parts would have made a huge difference, like it did to Bling. And when I say huge difference, you might not even be able to hear it in the video. I didn't watch the footage yet, but when you're on it, and the old butt dyno, it 100% feels the difference. You can feel how it's pulling away harder at the lights or at a stop, and how at, you know, quarter throttle or just breaking the throttle open, it has more torque, more pull to constantly pull you along the road, which is really nice. And then on the higher revs, it has less popping all the way through the rev range, and it did that on every one of the bikes, and it was most prevalent for me on Tweaker when I was doing my main testing, because it's such a modified motor. And I was so tired of listening to everyone else's thoughts. I'm like, let me do it for myself. So it was really convenient when BikeBerry came to me and said, hey, do you want to test out the pipe? Do you want to test out the carburetor? I was like, sure. I was literally testing it on Tweaker to find out for myself. And my final thoughts, if you want to take away with it, are I recommend buying it. If you want to upgrade your stock carburetor, but you don't want all the hassle of trying to tune a pilot jet with the main jet and all this other stuff that goes along with going into a PZ or OKO or a PWK or a Nibby, they can get really complicated, especially for someone that's never done it before. And if you just buy one of these and toss it on, you're going to have a lot more fun, because it's going to be simple, less stress, and it lets you progress through the hobby to get into that next step of making a reed valve, or then getting the Nibby or the PWK, OKO, and all that stuff, to then have a lot more fun with the whole hobby as a whole. So there's my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit the subscribe, make sure you hit the like, and let me know in the comments what you thought of the skit. That was very poorly edited, but I had a lot of fun trying to make something funny for you guys. As always, guys, I appreciate it, and I'll check you in the next one. Peace. Alright guys, so I said at the end of the video I was going to show you exactly what I meant by the only issue I could find with them, and I did do extensive testing that led me to this. Now, I haven't had the problem with the one BikeBerry sent me, but I've been using it on much more mildly ported motors or completely stock motors. The one that I had all this issue with was a motor that I have really jazzed up with the port timings. So 12,000 RPMs, not a balanced crank. It's really cooking. I mean, it's a stock balanced and whatnot. And there's also a couple other variables you'll see in the video when it comes out on the YD100 that I did up. But what it's doing is at super high RPM, the very, very high top end of it, it would vibrate. Not where you'd really notice it in your hands, but you'd feel a very high-pitched frequency of a vibration. And the tighter the vibrations go, the faster the reverb is back and forth. And when it starts going really fast, it's harder for a piece of aluminum to not break. Let me show you what I mean. So these are the three that I did. Now, these two are the exact same. Actually, all three of them are the same molds. This one is a Pucky. This one, I believe, is another BikeBerry carburetor. And this is, I have no idea. Whatever. What it is, though, is they're all, you can see, look at the side, they're all basically the same carburetor, okay? They're made from the same mold off of the original same carburetor. There is small differences and variations between them, but the thing that they all have in common to an exact is this back. If you see right in here, see how it's smooth? Right here, smooth. It only grabs here, and that's all the carbs, because of the way they clamp. This holds on just at the bottom with that little bit, and then you clamp at the top. Puts a lot more stress in this area, and I had all three of these break. Now this one here is almost, oh, there you go, it broke off. So this one was also breaking all the way off, and this one broke off. But that's the only weak point that I could find in these carburetors, and it's definitely a weak point. You know, it's definitely a problem. I'm not going to say it's not a problem. It's something that should be looked at to be fixed for future generations of these carbs, because quite frankly, I do really like this carburetor. And it's a shame that the whole first 2 years, probably, I just talked smack about the carburetor, mostly because I didn't know any better, but that's, you know, that's my own fault for being so naive and dumb, because I never personally tried the carburetor, so I never should have talked smack about it. And now that I actually have used it, I really do like it. And I think on 90% of bikes, you're not going to have any issues, you won't have it break, and it will be a nice little upgrade for your bike. But I just want to give you all the info so you have it on what
could possibly happen, you might see happen, could expect to happen. Now, they all come with some version of a really nice little air cleaner that goes on them, and it's a really nice little air cleaner. It looks really sharp, and it's a really nice little piece of kit. You know, it's a nice little carb. Unfortunately, because of this, you just have to be mindful. If you have a motor that vibrates a lot, I would recommend getting that vibration fixed before you put the carb on. But for 90% of the people out there, this will be a nice upgrade. Is it going to get you crazy performance and way more speed? No. It will help your engine rev smoother, rev a little higher, and atomize the fuel better, in turn giving you a better combustion and giving you all around better performance. Yes, but it's not going to make you do 60 miles an hour. It's not that type of an upgrade. It's something that will just help your bike run more efficiently and just all around better by making it a little bit smoother operating. So there you go. I really hope you guys liked the video. I hope you stuck around to the end so you could hear you need to hit the subscribe and the like button. And as always, I guess I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.